As, as most of you know, Alliance Women Focus is, or one of our major focuses is on our international workers and supporting them and praying for them. And so we have an opportunity this morning to hear from a couple of our international workers who are from the Alliance Northwest, who are in the Northwest right now. And so I'm going to welcome Mindy Hawking and Wendy Wood. If you guys want to unmute yourselves, I think that would work the best. It's exciting to have them join us, and I'm just going to ask them a few questions, and we can just get to, we don't have a huge amount of time, but we do have some time to hear from them. And I was just struck, you know, how you can sing a song a million times and then you sing it one time and something just jumps out at you. And I was just struck as we were singing that last song that we're asking God to fill us with love for those around us. And that's really the international work, right? It's and it's our global focus and we pray that God will fill us with love for those around us. And so anyway, that was just my little 2 cents there. So I'm just going to start by asking Wendy if you can just give us an overview of your ministry in Thailand. Tell us what you do.
Well, my husband and I moved to Thailand to the town of Chiang Mai up in the north in 2004, originally to work with Thais. And then in 2007, the Lord very clearly transitioned us to work at Grace International School, which is a school for missionary kids in northern Thailand. We serve, there's about 560 students, K to 12, and it's all the teachers there, the foreign staff, very dedicated to their calling to serve missionary families. They raise their own support to make that happen. We're kind of a rarity in international schools nowadays. And I am the elementary vice principal. I taught 3rd grade for a number of years there. And for the last 3 years have been in an administrative role. And my husband works at the Well International, which is a Christian counseling center in Chiang Mai that serves the missionary community there.
And so Mindy, give you a chance to, I was thinking about it when I say your first and last names to get together, it's not so bad, but then or funny, but then I realized we've got Mindy and Wendy, so we're almost rhyming, but but Mindy, would you please share with us what you've been doing in Mexico?
Sure. Well, you pretty much heard what Envision's all about when Jen shared. So that is basically what I was doing. I went to Mexico starting in 2012, and it's all about engaging short-term missions and developing young leaders, developing young leaders as well, and engaging with the local church. And so that was a lot of what I did in Mexico. Being that bridge between the visiting churches that came down and helping them to engage in a meaningful way on the mission field in Mexico. And then speaking into our interns' lives for however long we were entrusted with them and helping them to learn their gifts and their skills and where God is working in their lives. And then when we didn't have groups and interns, then just to pour into the local community that was there. So a lot of relationship building, a lot of just one-on-one, a lot of one-on-one time and getting to know them and being with them.
I got to go on an Envision trip to Ecuador a couple of years ago, and it was exciting to see that work between the interns and the people that are there on the ground.
Yeah.
Wendy, how would you say God has used your gifts and talents as you work there in your ministry?
Well, we're not typical missionaries in that we're not doing church planting or anything like that, but I think God has been so good to show me in the last few years that you don't have to have the same kind of background as you think missionaries need to have. I'm an educator. I've been teaching for almost 30 years now, and he's led me into this job using my education skills and my administrative skills. One of the things that I do as a vice principal is I'm an instructional coach for our new teachers. We're trying to keep our teachers there longer by supporting them well. And because we have a lot of turnover, especially as teachers have to raise their own support, it's hard to keep them long term. So trying to support them well, trying to give them a chance to really grow in their craft. And my job is to come alongside them and help them through that process to troubleshoot any behavioral issues with the kids, and also do some professional development, and just help with all kinds of tasks around the school as well. So God doesn't discount anybody just because they don't look the same way you think they should for a missionary career. He can use teachers, he can use administrators, he can use counselors like my husband. He can, you know, whatever you, if you have a heart to serve him, he'll find a way to plug you in somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Mindy, how do you see that God has grown you in living and working in Mexico? How has that affected your life?
Well, it has taught me a reliance on the Lord. I'm single, a single woman, and so going overseas by myself has a certain, because I'm by myself, it's caused me to rely on the Lord more heavily. Like, He has been the only constant one. He's been the beloved. He's been the anchor. And so it is taught me how to rely on Him. Thankfully, the raising and support side of Envision, the Lord blessed that area, and it wasn't a huge stress in my life, which I praise Him for that constant support that I had. But in terms of living in Mexico and that adjustment, and then even through the different circumstances that played out while I was there, the Lord really grew me in my role and my abilities to serve. Like, He kept calling me further. It's one quote that I love from the last book of Chronicles of Narnia, is Aslan keeps calling the people further up and further in. And I just feel like that's been my journey. The Lord has just kept calling me further up and further in, entrusting me with more responsibilities. And then with that, much like what Jen has been talking about, has been greater self-awareness, that purifying, and all through it, He's just been the faithful beloved who keeps loving me and helping bring things to the surface, as well as just gently unfolding like the next chapter that He's had for me. So there's just been this kind of steady growth of leadership development, holistic development, self-awareness, and just overall reliance on the Lord.
I'm going to ask this question of both of you. Is there some area that that God has used you in an unexpected way in your ministry? I mean, you went for a specific reason, but has He given you the opportunity to do something unexpected?
Well, I'll go first if you don't mind, Mindy. So in 2013, my husband was working as the spiritual life director at Grace also, and for personal reasons needed to leave that job, and it left kind of an unexpected hole in the chapel program. So I found myself working in elementary chapel, which I hadn't expected as a third grade teacher at the time, and started writing dramas for a drama team and started writing plays. So for about 7 years now, every year coming up with a new drama series for my drama team. And that was kind of a, you know, I hadn't thought that would ever be part of my life, but I thoroughly enjoy it. And I love the opportunity to mentor the 5th and 6th grade students that are on my teams, and the chance for them to impart God's word in a dramatic way and to be a part of ministering to their own classmates. that's been cool.
That's cool. I think the one thing that came to mind as I was reflecting on that question was that one way the Lord used me in an unexpected way in the last, I guess it would be within the last 2 years now, is that so starting in March of 2018, Envision Mexico moved from Ensenada, Baja California down to Guadalajara, Jalisco, which is in central Mexico. And with that move, right off shortly after I landed in Guadalajara, I just sent an email of greeting and introducing myself and introducing Envision to one of our Mexican pastors who lived about 3 hours away. There was really, I didn't promise him. I told him that I hoped that I could work with him one day in the future, and that I would hope I'd meet him soon. But there was no promise or expectation that we would be partnering with him at all in the future, just that desire to do so. And as it turned out, I did have a group from New York that was able to come that summer of 2018, and we ended up going out there 3 hours away to partner with this church. But as the Lord, it was totally the Lord at work behind the scenes, because as it was unfolded to me or revealed to me later on, the Lord used that simple email that I had wrote that was just basically an introduction and nothing more, to encourage this pastor and his wife to endure and to press on. They're actually Mexican Americans from California who transplanted themselves to Mexico to plant a church. And they were feeling, after having been there for, I think it was 4 years already, and had no congregants in their church, they were really discouraged. And they were crying out to the Lord, do you see us? Do you even know, do you want us here, or should we go back home to California? And then I wrote that letter just saying, hey, I hope I work with you one day. And the Lord somehow used this random greeting just to encourage them and to let them know that they were seen and known, and that he wanted them to endure. And I didn't really do anything amazing or great in this, but it was such a joy to me to learn, I think it was about a year after that whole incident, that the church now had maybe 6 people attending their community. The Lord had provided through that encouragement. The Lord had finally started to let the seeds grow, and people were now coming to their little church community. And it was just such a rich gift of blessing, just to I guess feel the Holy Spirit say that he used me in some small way to encourage this pastor and to help grow his church. And so it was just really cool. I never would have guessed that would have happened.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now. This is to both of you again. What you're doing currently, and then, because you're both in Washington, I believe, and then what's a way we can pray for you. And so everybody else, get out your paper and pencil so you can write down their prayer requests, okay? So you want to start, Wendy?
Sure. We are taking our very first 1-year furlough in 16 years and enjoying fall colors and everything for the first time, so it's beautiful. We're staying here with Mike's mom, Elsie Wood. Let me say hello. And living with her for the year, and helping her where we can, and trying to be a blessing to her as she goes through, early, she's been a widow for a 1.5 years, and so trying to be a support to her as well. We're trying to get our youngest son, Alex, launched into school. He just moved over to Central Washington University. And our oldest son, trying to get him kind of set in a good direction, a good trajectory for him. He's seems to be, he just needs a little bit of us coming alongside him for that for a little while. And of course, connecting with our churches and supporters, and trying to do that in a unique environment right now, and makes it a little bit more challenging. This is not how we envisioned our furlough to look like when we planned it a year ago. Also pray for, if you can think about praying for Grace International School, as it's, a lot of the teachers were not allowed to get back into Thailand to start the school year, so they've been kind of you know, piecemeal teaching to get things going, but they are open. Thailand's fortunately not had a huge problem with COVID, but they've been very tight in their restrictions as far as letting people back in. And it's quite expensive to get back in the country. They make you pay quite a huge fee for quarantine. Yeah, and pray for our boys that they'll grow and especially come closer to the Lord. Our oldest is not really following God right now, so we're, you know, praying for him a lot. And yeah, pray for opportunities for us to be good neighbors to our immediate community and to, you know, use whatever opportunity God puts in our hearts to love on others and to be a witness to him.
Well, you might have noticed that a lot of what I have shared already has been in past tense. I actually left Mexico in November last year. I can't believe it's already been, like, we're coming up on a year, which is just unbelievable. So I've been back in Washington since the end of last November. And officially, I'm on leave of absence with the Christian Missionary Alliance, and I'm seeking the Lord for what direction he wants for me going forward, whether that's back in missions or whether that's switching to church ministries or even something completely different. So I just recently got a job. I just finished a month at my new job, working at a medical clinic as customer service, basically. And it's not the dream job by any means. My heart is geared for ministry, and I would love to be back in full-time ministry. And I trust that the Lord knows that and that he's got something in store in the future. I am also, my church has a college group that is led by some young adults who, as you know, the young adult community are very, very busy. They're transient, and so this group is struggling with their core team, and so they've recently invited me to consider participating with their leadership team, and so that's something I'm considering. I don't know exactly what that will look like, and I haven't said yes yet, but I'm talking with them to see how I could partner with the church's college group and be an encouragement to them. And then I've had actually the opportunity in this last year to actually meet with a couple young ladies in my church, one of them who wants to be a missionary and who's taken steps that way, and just to really pour into her life, to give her some counsel and some thoughts as she's trying to figure out what path she's going to take in this next year that will hopefully get her to Africa. And so that's been heaps of fun for me, just to be able to meet with other young ladies who desire to love and serve the Lord, and to hopefully encourage them in the process. I guess I would just ask prayer that you would just pray that I would have the ears to hear the voice of the Lord for whatever he wants for me in the future, even for the present and the future, that I would be faithful and I want to partner with him. Like, I want to partner with what the Lord is doing. And so just that I would be attentive to that and in tune with his spirit. So whether that means going back overseas one day or moving into church ministry or even something completely different, like, I want to join in what he has planned, and I don't want to miss it. And I guess I kind of feel this fear that, like, what if I miss it? What if my ears are deaf to the voice of the Lord? And so I keep asking him, very much with conjunction to these verses, that the Lord would just search me and know my thoughts, that he would help me to know if there's anything blocking me between him, that I would stay connected and in tune with his spirit. So just pray along that would be probably the biggest petition that I could offer at this point.
Something we all need to pray for ourselves, is that we're in tune with what God wants us to.
Right.
I'm gonna put our some information about our school, our website, if you're interested in finding more about Grace International School. If you're a teacher or retired teacher and would like to serve overseas and help at Grace International School, there's information on there on how you can get in touch the school. And there's our email if you'd like to receive our monthly newsletter and find out more about our ministry. So thank you.
Thank you, Mindy.
Sawadee-ka.
And thank you, Mindy. Appreciate you both for participating, and hopefully we've all got your requests, and we'll be praying for you. And I want to shift just a little bit now. I have a couple minutes to talk about another program that the Alliance Women has had near and dear to their hearts for many years. And we used to call it the Adopted MK program or the Adopted TCK program. We're just calling it the TCK program, which TCK stands for Third Culture Kid. So these are the children of our international workers who are growing up in this kind of in-between space, in between the land of their birth and the land where their parents are ministering, and it puts them in kind of a special, unique position. And so we want to support those children of our international workers. And we feel like one way that we can support our international workers themselves is to love their children and to support their children. So we've had this program for a long time, and it's kind of gone through some highs and lows, and right now we actually have some newer, they're not all brand new to overseas ministry, but they're newer and they have young children. So we actually have 8 children in the Alliance Northwest of international workers that don't have a connection yet to a church. Just brief, we do have some written guidelines that if you're interested in this program, I'd be happy to send you. I'd be happy to communicate with you on that as well. But what we're looking for is a church that'll make kind of the long term. I mean, it doesn't have to be like forever, but we're looking for more than just a few months, like a few years of a commitment to support an individual child in just community. I mean, it's not like to just communicate with them 2 or 3 times a year, and to maybe send them Christmas and birthday presents, or something like that. And that looks different depending on where their parents are ministering, whether you can send gifts or not. But it's kind of a wide open kind of a thing, but we really want to, and I've communicated with the parents of these kids, and they're like really want their kids to have a connection with the church. And most of them have a special place in the heart of their sending church, but we want to broaden that. And that also gives our local churches the opportunity to invest in a particular student's life. So I'm just putting that out there, that we do have a need. And I think Leah's going to put my email address up on it's real easy. It's just sylviajoy5@gmail. So you're welcome to contact me. And I have kids of a variety of ranges, from little to high school. We have one student that just went to high school at the Black Forest Academy and is away from his family. I think he's the oldest one that we're looking for a connection with, but then there's little ones too. So if you'll give me send me a message, I'd be glad to give you more information about that program. Thank you.